if you have a boy child, encourage them to express their emotions. That's when we need to start from. Yeah. So it goes up to a level where someone is sick. Actually, I worked for a health facility at some point, and when you see a man coming to the hospital, either the condition is bad or they are forced. Maybe someone was hard on them and insisted that they have to go and see the doctor or go to the hospital. So our help-seeking behavior generally is wanting as men. Yeah.
It is something we need to change, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Saseni mkofiti, manze nimewahata, manze nimewamiss. Welcome back to yet another exciting episode on Celeste Reflection. And you know what? I'm always happy, I'm always excited. Whenever we get to interact, whenever you guys get to comment, I feel so good. Because what we say on this page is, hapo kwa iyo picture, I'm saying it's just a girl. And now, in this case, it's not me alone. We are many. So we are learning and unlearning. So we get to learn. Like last week, we get to understand about sickle cell. So we get to learn new things. We get to unlearn things that we thought that were always the truth, okay? So I love it when we learn together, and I love it when we get to create awareness. Sawa? So ukiwatch, ufeel unataka kushare, itasaidia mtu, share tu. Share link ya hii video kwa TikTok. Share kwa WhatsApp. We are trying to create awareness. We are trying to help each other out there, okay? So yes, again, I am back with a guest, and I am so happy that this month of June is the men's mental health month. I have been able to host 2 men on this show. 1 was for Father's Day, and 2 is today. Our mental health therapist. Karibu sana Bwana Paul.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. Huku tunapendwa wageni. I'm sorry kama nimeongea sana kabla nikufikie, but yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Paul Otieno. I work for Mental Ventures as a life coach. I'm also in charge of developing relationships, but more importantly, I'm an educator in matters mental health, and I'm pleased to be here this afternoon.
Asante sana. Na nimefurahia sana because we are talking about mental health.
Yes.
June ni mwezi ya men's mental health, na nimepata therapist mwenye ataongelelea from, unajua your men's perspective.
Yes.
Juu I was to get a lady, but maybe wangesema huyu mama ama huyu mwanamke haelewi shida zetu. Mm-hmm. So like about a month ago, kuna siku hapo tu kwa page yangu ya Instagram nikauliza wasi, how are you mentally, like uko aje, where are you? Wacha tu nisome a few. Mm-hmm. And kuna wale walisema I'm not okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to survive and to stay positive on the year 2025. Mwingine akasema I am tired, I need a job. I need a job walikuwa wengi sana. Mm-hmm. I need a job, unemployment, nini. Mwingine akasema I am just surviving, juggling between work, a toddler, I barely have time. I am just walking like a zombie, like alisema yeye ni a walking zombie. Mwingine akasema so bad, I lost my job due to USAID. Haven't been able to get another and the economy is bad. So mingi zilikuwa everybody is bad mentally. Mm-hmm. Like I get kuna a few waliniambia I'm okay Celestine, I'm grateful, iko poa, but 3/4 of them were so bad. Kwanza mtu anaambia I'm so bad, like mine is in the pits. Yangu ni mbaya, sina kazi, sina nini. Mwingine hapa I graduated and hakuna kazi hadi saa hii. It's been a sad moment for me. I can't even provide for what? So the key thing I took was, saa hii kwenye tuko nika mental health yetu ya kila mtu iko tu pabaya. Iko tu kwa in the pits as they are saying. Mtu anakuambia why sina kazi, hakuna kazi, nilisoma nimegraduate miaka 6 sina kazi. So having seen all this, nikasema siko sure, I'm not the best person kujibu hizi maswali, but we can have someone akuje tuongelele about the state, because I feel like this is the state we are in as people. right now ni ujitafutie kafuraha kadogo ama kitaumana. So is it true? Are we in that state? Ama ni mimi najijazia?
Yes, we're in that state. And if you look at the statistics, they are very grim. Right now in Kenya, if you put like 4 people in a room, you're likely to have up to 2 people who have mental health issues, because mental health is in different stages. Mental health issues, they are in different stages.
Half?
Almost half.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here we are 5.
Yeah.
So out of this 5 here,
yeah, you could be having maybe
2
3 of us. And
or
most
3.
of the time, when people have a mental health issue, and I don't mean illness, I'm going to clarify what I mean by mental health issues. Most of the time, people are not even aware. No, that's the issue. Now, back to the issue of rest. First, I want to say it's very unfortunate that we are where we are, but I want to commend the men who opened up to say that they are not okay. And I can also tell you that even those who are saying they are okay, sometimes either they are not telling the truth, or probably they are not aware that if you dig deeper, you'd realize that probably they are also not okay. Yeah, be that as it may, it's becoming not just a problem in Kenya, it's becoming a crisis actually. When you look at the economic situation.
Yeah, it is a crisis actually.
Yeah, and the other stress factors. But it's not all doom and gloom, because there is hope. Yeah, that's why I think this discussion is very important, to let people know that much as you can be having all those stress factors in your life, you can still make it. Because what matters at the end of the day is really not what is happening to you. At the end of the day, there are situations that you'll not be able to avoid. Something like loss of a job, loss of a loved one. These are things we are not in control of. But what we are emphasizing is, what is the response that you can develop to help you cope with the situation? Yeah, so that should be
because they
the
will always be
conversation.
there. Problems,
Yes,
issues will always be there.
Yeah, it's in the environment, and you cannot control the environment.
Okay.
You cannot decide whether it will rain tomorrow and you'll be rained on. You cannot decide whether people will talk about you in a bad way. But what you can control is how you respond to those situations. And that determines whether you'll be mentally healthy or not.
Okay, so I love that you've said wanaume kadhaa wali reach out. Honestly, I think like only 10% nikisema, well, page yangu attracts mostly women, but niko na wanaume, and the number of the feedback I got, wanaume ni kidogo sana. So kwa nini men, why is it always hard? And I'm happy that I'm hosting a man. So I'm not asking a woman why men, I'm asking a man. Why is it always hard kwa wanaume kujiongea?
Let me answer you from a man's perspective.
Thank you.
Yes.
Answer me, Bwana Paul.
I'm a man. I've also had that challenge. Maybe not now, and not only related to mental health issues, but generally in life. It has a lot to do with our upbringing. I would say it's embedded in our culture. Because when you are growing up, you are told, probably if your parent finds you crying, they go like, "Weni mwanaume." Those comments. So,
it's a bad comment.
Yes. You are actually damaging us, because what you are telling us, you're not supposed to cry. And so by crying, you're also releasing the negative emotions that at the end of the day will help us to feel better. But if I'm going to make the emotion or suppress the emotions over a long period of time, to reach a point when probably I'll burst, I'll do something that is very crazy. Yeah, because I did not find an opportunity to vent. There was no outlet for the emotions. So these emotions are put together over a long period of time, and sooner or later this person will do something that is out of the ordinary.
So it's in the culture.
It is in the culture.
Men are told to kujikaza.
Umeambiwa tujikaze kisabuni, and I will ask, sabuni ujikaza aje? So the thing is, I think now for us,
ask that question again.
Yes.
I love that question. Ask them in that camera.
Yeah, so sabuni ujikaza aje? Ukituambia tujikaze kisabuni, sabuni ujikaza aje?
I love that.
That's the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So what I think, for people now who have the information, like in our generation, I think there's a lot of information around about how people are supposed to treat people, young people, especially children when they are growing up. So if you have a boy child, encourage them to express their emotions. That's when we need to start from. Yeah. So it goes up to a level where someone is sick. Actually, I've worked for a health facility at some point, and when you see a man coming to the hospital, either the condition is bad, or they are forced. Maybe someone was hard on them and insisted that they have to go and see the doctor or go to the hospital. So our help-seeking behavior generally is wanting as men. Yeah.
It is something you need to change, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So actually, that's what the biggest issue. There could be other factors, but this is the main one: help-seeking behavior. Even something as simple as just reporting something that happened to you. I once went to a forum somewhere where a guy was complaining why women issues, especially matters to do with relationships, are taken so seriously. It is the same thing. Now, the society, apart from being told to suppress your emotions, the society is also stigmatizing men. For instance, if a man gets beaten up by his wife and you go report to a police station, the first thing, the policeman will laugh at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mwanaume mgani huyu
anachapwa.
na bibi.
So you see, that's also another thing. You already gather enough courage. Not every man can do that, but you gather enough courage. You take yourself to a police station only to meet with such statements. So where do you go? What do you do? And you thought that's where you could get help. Yeah.
Are there, now that we are addressing it from a man's, napenda hii sana. Are there ways you can tell this man, fanya hivi? Well, I love that we are addressing the society, so we stop with the stigmatization. But are there tools you can tell men, ukifanya hivi itakusaidia? Juu sasa hawataki kuongea na tumeona tunajaribu waongee, but kuna njia zingine.
Yes, kuna njia zingine, and I think the best, first of all, to look at the people around this man, the people he hangs out with, the closest friends, the people he can confide in. It's surprising. Let me tell you one thing about men. Do you know we can be friends for months, surprising even for years, and you don't know even each other's names sometimes, because
is so true.
we just call ourselves using other code names, not even our names. So men, there are a lot of issues we can talk about, but now the people who are around the men, and especially that's why you really encourage sensitization. If you have people who are sensitized, and these people are there to give an ear to a man when a man is suffering. Because one of the things that men fear most, see the stigma I was talking about. So finding someone that you can share with, someone you can confide in, and someone who can guarantee your confidentiality, so that they're not going to tell you a story like what I was alluding to before. Maybe you are beating up. You see, there's a lot of stigma around that. So opening up to share such stories is not very easy. So trust issues is also another thing that you need to look at. But an environment needs to be created by the people who are around men, who are men themselves. And how do we do it? There are men like hanging out in places like right now where I stay. There are those places where young men, especially those who are toting.
Oh yeah, those bays.
Yeah, those bays. Yeah. So even people who are in this space, mental health space, can actually reach men there. Because if you organize an official forum and you call them, chances are high they're not going to show up.
Yeah. They won't
so come. It's time we start changing the approach. We can reach men wherever they are. Yeah, you go to those border bases or stages, and just by strike off a conversation and start asking questions randomly. So when you're asking those questions, most likely the things that you are asking, you realize there are people who are suffering from them.
I get it.
Yeah. So just ask random questions. And then you see that one, the people are very anonymous and you're making it very lively, very participatory. So somebody is going to bring out their issues without knowing, and you'll be able to start addressing those issues. If there's need for referral or linkages to maybe other service providers, now it will give you a better chance to link them up.
Okay. Yeah. And there's something you started by saying. There's a difference between mental health.
Mental illness.
There's a difference between mental health issues and mental health illness.
Yeah. So mental health is in different states. There are usually 4 states. So when you are here and nothing is disturbing you, your rent is paid, your bills are taken care of. If you have kids, they're doing well in school,
you have
and
employment,
everything.
You have work.
You have everything is working
bills
for you. That is what we call the no distress stage, which is at the lowest level. It's like a pyramid. Let me use a pyramid.
Are you saying we all have mental health issues?
You'll find out. Let me explain first. Then you'll find out where you belong or where you fit. So, but that can change. Just one phone call or one text message.
Oh, the distress.
Yes, no distress level.
No distress.
Yeah. Just one phone call, just one report, maybe one email, just anything can happen anytime to move you from that stage into another stage that we call the distress level. So you are here, we're having this interview, and when you go back home, you try to reach out to try to reach out and find whether you have the key to your door. Realize you don't have the key. Maybe it's late at night. So what goes on in your mind? Even if you do not have any stress,
immediately
you get into a distress level. Okay. So that stage, anybody can be there and anybody can move out of it at any time.
That is a stage of mental?
That's now called a mental distress. What we normally call the normal stresses. So those are anyway technical terms or professional terms, but it's just basically stress. So the moment you are stressed up, you've moved from that level of no distress into the stress or distress level. It can be caused by anything.
As little as losing a key.
Yes, exactly.
Misplacing a key.
Yeah. And sometimes several things can combine. Maybe you've misplaced your key.
And you're hungry.
And then you're hungry. The prices of maybe the goods have gone up. And you're not prepared to adjust. And maybe you also maybe receive reports that someone is sick somewhere. Maybe some money is needed. You are not in a position to support.
So you're at that
distress level.
Distress level.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what people normally call the normal stress. Normal stress is not a mental illness. We call them the normal stresses, but there's something I'm going to put. There will be a but at the end of this conversation.
Okay.
So what happens? You can be there, and you can also go to a higher level, or you can come back if you are able to sort your issues. You can come back to the no distress level.
Okay.
So people keep swinging. There. Even in one single day, you can swing between different states. Yeah. People keep swinging.
Today, I think
so. What happens? That stress, actually, sometimes we call it is healthy. Yeah? We say it is healthy.
Oh,
the normal stress are healthy. Yeah? So I'm going to quantify my statement. The reason why we say it is healthy, when you are stressed, because a stress is a problem, it's caused by a certain problem, then you'll start looking for solutions. In the process of looking for solutions, you are growing, you are developing adaptation strategies, coping skills, or problem-solving skills. So next time you meet a similar situation, if you'll be able to solve this situation, next time you meet a similar situation, you'll be in a better position to solve it, given the experience you've had prior. So it's also another way of growing. So the distresses in life, sometimes they make us grow.
Stronger.
They make us stronger.
Yeah, what doesn't kill you.
Yeah, you gain more experience. So the issue will have been solved, but you remain with the knowledge, the experience, the skills that you'll be able to apply next time you meet a similar challenge.
And that's why we're saying it's healthy.
Yeah, that's why you're saying it's healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, if it is too much, and then it gets to a level where it starts doing something that we call a disruption of normal functioning. A disruption of normal functioning means this thing, it happened yesterday, today you are still not over it, tomorrow, a week after, 2 weeks. And then you realize that it's now having an effect on how you operate. Maybe you are sleeping more than you used to sleep, or you are now lacking sleep if you are sleeping well, or you are eating more than you are eating before, or you lack appetite. Sometimes people's hygiene, people don't take very good care of themselves hygienically. Your relationship, you start withdrawing yourself. The things that used to interest you are no longer interesting. If you are a fan, I don't know if you have soccer fans here. Arsenal and Man U, and so probably your favorite team is playing. You used to be a very big fan, but right now you locked yourself in your house, you're sleeping. So that one, you've moved from the distress stage, the normal stress, into what we call a mental health problem. In a mental health problem, now it is hard for you to get out of that situation by yourself. Now you need an external support. Okay. And most of the time, if it takes 2 weeks and above,
of doing that.
Yeah.
So you can be there for a week and still go back to distress.
Yeah. But if you realize it's now 2 weeks down the line, you are still not able to eat normally, you are still not able to sleep normally, you realize that your relationships are affected. The way you socialize, the way you interact with people is affected, and so on and so forth. What we call the normal functioning. That normal functioning is disrupted, and it is more than 2 weeks. Then you are getting into what we call a mental health problem. That's now the third stage.
So if this thing has bothered me for over 14, like
and you're
over
not
2 weeks,
you're not over it yet.
I'm not over it yet.
Yeah, and it's affecting how you normally
behave.
function. Yes. Maybe you're a talkative person, you are no longer talkative. Maybe you're a jovial person. When people look at you, they see those visible changes. They can say, you are not well. Maybe they can observe things that certain changes in you. And it is more than 2 weeks, so it means you're getting into what you call a mental health problem. Okay. So mental health problem, again, is not a mental illness. It's just another condition.
But you need help now from
You need
there.
now an external support. So external support can come in the form of, if you have somebody, as I said before, someone you can trust. And there are people who just by talking, they'll be able to get some relief. Confiding in someone. So probably a student in school has a teacher whom they can trust, maybe the guidance and counseling teacher or another adult in their lives. In your life as an adult, maybe you have a friend you can confide in. Some people just by talking and releasing the emotions, they can feel better. However, there are some people who may now need professional help. You go to what people we call counseling psychologists. They offer talk therapy. So talk therapy can help you get out of it. If you go to church, maybe you have someone who trusts, maybe your pastor or church leader you can talk to and you feel better, it's okay. But if you realize the symptoms are persisting, they will need a professional help in the form of a talk therapy that is offered by a counseling psychologist. Okay.
So now we are at mental health. So we might talk to one or two people, then we are able to handle our stress.
Exactly,
now.
yeah. But the basic thing is some support must come from an external source.
Okay.
It's not really easy for you to get out of it.
Okay.
When you get into that state.
Okay.
Then the last one.
If this doesn't.
Yeah. So
if this you don't go.
At all these stages, it depends on how they are managed. If they're not managed well, then you can leave to another stage. But then the last stage also has got some causes that have nothing to do with the stress at sometimes, which is called the mental illness. And mental illness is also a mental disorder. So the words are supposed to be used interchangeably. When I say mental illness, I mean a mental disorder. When I say a mental disorder, I mean a mental illness.
They mean the same.
And there are so many,
Okay.
Most of which people don't even know. And even there are so many people who are mentally ill, but they are not aware they're mentally ill.
Like they don't feel some sort of stress or...
Yeah, sometimes it's not even stressful. It's now, most of the time, it is manifested in the behavior.
Okay.
But of course, there's also sometimes, it depends on the severity, it depends on the nature. It also depends on, I'm going to explain how it happens and we are going to understand in a deeper way. So a mental illness is actually a result of a disruption of the functioning of the brain, and it manifests in how you behave, how you feel, and how you think. So you cannot get mentally ill until part of your brain is disrupted, the functioning of the brain. Mental health problem can be there, but your brain is still functioning normally. But anytime or once something touches the brain, interferes with how the brain is functioning, then definitely you're going to develop a mental illness. Yeah, so...
An example?
So severe and persistent stress can damage parts of the brain. Severe and persistent. The normal stresses are just there, they can come and go. But if the stress is severe and persistent, it can damage. Then, most of the time, we like looking at causes. There are main two causes. There are genetical factors and environmental factors. Genetical factors mean that if you're coming from a family with a history of mental illness, then you are at a higher risk of developing a mental illness than someone who's not coming from such a family. Yeah, those are because they're in the genes. So if your family has had a history of mental illness, then you are at a higher risk. And then the environmental factors can be caused by something like an accident. If you get into an accident situation and sometimes something hits your head so hard, puts a lot of pressure on your brain, it can damage the functioning of the brain. Okay. Mothers, when they are giving birth, a child can actually get their brain damaged during that time if they don't get enough oxygen. There's a lot of issues also about mothers and the children getting mentally ill. There are certain physical conditions, certain sicknesses, physical sicknesses, depending on their severity. If they affect the brain, they can cause mental illness.
So that is the most superior level.
Yeah,
when
the highest
now you
level.
Become sick now, mental
illness. That's now you are now sick. Because now for sickness, you don't just need a talk therapy. So sickness, now you'll have to be treated. And it has to be diagnosed by qualified professionals. The way the physical diagnosis is done when it's a physical illness, it has to be diagnosed by a professional who is qualified. Okay. So that's there are a lot of details about it, but that's why I wanted us just to get the context, how the mental health states are, and so that you also get to know where you are at any given moment. Yeah.
So I love that you've said there's the third one. Well, you need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Now, most of these comments that I got, I think we are the
mental health problem or distress.
Distress, so we are swinging.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to assume, but most of the feedback was no work, no job, unemployment. So it's like we need something to cope. So now, how do we? Because we don't want to move to the next level.
Yeah.
We don't want to move to the next level. And as you said, these are just natural things that are happening.
Yeah.
So some of the ways we can do to reduce the stress.
Exactly. So there are so many activities that people can do to promote mental health generally. So many activities. So number one, you look at what is one thing that you are usually interested in doing. There's some people who are good at maybe something as simple as singing. There's some people who just by taking a walk, you just take a walk and you meditate. Some people just going to a garden somewhere or a park, and you sit in a very quiet environment. Maybe you have your book you want to read, and especially that book is also encouraging you in matters mental health, or talking to you in a way that is satisfying. You are getting some satisfaction from it. If you are talented, maybe in playing any musical instrument and you can access it, all those things. There are people who are good at painting. The people who are good at cooking. The people who are good. So doing those activities. Another thing that people can do, you can do journaling. You wake up in the morning, you record each moment. At this moment, I was doing this. So at the end of the day, you look at what was I able to achieve, and that will make you feel that you are important, that you can actually achieve something in life. Talking to somebody, as we said, go out, talk to friends, interact with people, especially people who make you happy, or people who encourage you. Generally, I know there are people also who, when you meet them, you feel worse than you were before. So look, choose your friends. Choose the kind of people you hang out with. Not people who are going to discourage you. So like even somebody who, like for somebody who has lost a job, there are people who will tell you, we knew. Those kind of things. We saw it coming. So when you get people who are making such comments, they're actually damaging you more. Yeah, there are such people.
So it's avoid those environments.
Yeah, don't avoid what you call toxic environment. Toxic environment, that environment that is going to enhance the problem that you already have.
Can someone tell between having a bad day and having a real mental health problem? Because now naweza poteza hiyo funguo venye umesema, nimefika home usiku niko njaa na naweza fikiria ni a bad day, but kumbe I'm sick. I'm having a mental health problem.
Yeah.
Is there a way you can tell?
That's like why someone, most of the time people are not able. Most of the time that's why talking to people is very important, because there's that part of you that we call it a blind spot, something that you're not even able to identify you have. So there are even some people who they already have a mental problem. That's why they even misplace the key. So it can give the other way around.
No, from you, Paul. Can you tell, now you are a therapist, unaweza sema mse ni bad day too? Because I understand there's an app we call to get therapists to talk to.
Yes.
So mtu anaweza kupigia ujue huyu tu ni siku mbaya.
Yeah.
na huyu ni mgonjwa.
So the main difference is in the duration. Just having a bad day, something's going to be a one-off, and tomorrow I'm just okay. But if last week you called me, I was nasty, and this week and next week, definitely, that's a telltale sign. I'm not saying I don't want to diagnose, but I'm just saying those are telltale signs that something is really not. If I'm normally maybe a jovial person, and from the time you knew me, I'm your friend. From the time you knew me, I've always been jovial. But the last 2 weeks, I get angry very easily. I get irritated, and I'm bitter. I'm resentful. Those are telltale signs that something really has happened to me. Something is not right. Yeah. So that's probably the main difference I can point out.
Yeah, the time period.
Yeah, the time.
Now that we are in this month of Men's Mental Health Month, we are really trying to encourage our men to talk. Like, I'm sure you've met some of these men, some of the things they do. So what are some of the things you can tell our men to do? Like, najua kuna hiyo stigma ya kusema nilichapwa. But what can you tell them to encourage them? Sisi tuko na chama, sisi tunapatananga kila Saturday, tunapayuka. Monday ikifika, I have decompressed, I am okay. But huyu mwenye hata beshte yake wa karibu amjui jina. I loved how you used that example, because it's very true. Men hang out but they never know each other's name. Unaweza mwambia nini huyo mwanaume?
What I can tell them, we normally say this, it's okay not to be okay, but you can be okay. Yeah, it's okay not to be okay. Even if you feel you are stressful, number one, know you are not alone. And you are not the first person who is experiencing this. And you know that there's help that is available. Know that there are people who care about you. The problem, again, is about mental health issues. There's a lot of generalization. I've met so many people. Now, this is not gender specific, though we are talking about men. But this cuts across the gender divide. Someone breaks up with their partner in a relationship, and then they go like, nobody loves me. Hello, you didn't go to every single person in Kenya, and when you are done with Kenya, you go to Tanzania, to Uganda, then Africa, then Asia, then Europe, and everybody confirmed to you that they don't love you. So those generalizations, must be very careful about them, because what you are telling your man, you are actually shutting yourself up. You are withdrawing from people and all that. Those are some of the things that really worsen the situation that people have.
And if you keep on telling yourself, nobody loves me, it gets into you.
Exactly. And then you always get a confirmation, but then the environment's still there to confirm what you believe. So you run into a problem with another person, maybe your girlfriend told you are stupid.
Then someone else says this.
And then you when you believe it, actually you'll talk like a stupid person. Then the next person will tell you, you're really stupid. And you'll behave in a stupid way. So the environment will confirm to you. Because there's one fact that our minds will always look for evidence to support what you believe in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So if you believe you are stupid, my friend,
you will see it.
Yeah, subconsciously, you even talk stupidly, you are going to behave like a stupid person. People will confirm to you, hey, are they? When ni mjinga sana. And so I'm stupid. And that kills you more. That really damages you more. So the first thing, be aware of your thoughts, even as you are having the stress factors in your life. Be aware, what are you telling yourself?
So speak positive.
Speak positively. Then I also need to fight. We talked about some of the things that we could do to promote our mental health. I also need to talk about the opposite. There are also those things that people do thinking that they are relieving stress, but they are getting deeper into stress. Because sometimes we want quick fixes. We want to deal with the symptoms. We don't want to deal with the root cause.
Problem.
Yeah, the root cause. So if I'm stressed and the next thing I think of is go drink myself stupid, I'm not solving it.
It's only for now.
Yeah, it's only for now. I'll feel good momentarily, but later on, really, it is going to hit harder than it hit before. There are some people who engage in reckless sexual activity. There are some people who will pick up a fight. There are some people, all those things have consequences, which I cannot go into right now.
You can just share some.
Yeah, for instance, if you start fighting you are stressed, where will you end up? Sometimes you're going to injure somebody, you'll be arrested, you spend the night in a police cell, maybe you'll go to court, and maybe you'll be jailed. So you see, and you thought you are solving by fighting. Someone who drinks, you really spent your money on this, and so many other things can take place, of course.
Instead of attacking the root cause, you've taken this shortcut, which is also gonna be
so the awareness I want to create to men is this: whenever you are stressed, just do a reflection. What are some of the things you've been doing when you are stressed? And then I want them to separate those activities, which ones are helpful, which ones are not helpful, so that you make an informed decision even when you are stressed. And that also helps you to detach from negative emotions. Because one of the things, again, one of the reasons why people are not able to get over the issues, they are so much associated with the negative emotions. So if the emotions are very high, logic is low. If logic is high, emotions are low. There's always a trade-off between emotions and logic. So if you want to make sober decisions, just make sure you're not too emotional.
That's why they tell you relax.
Relax
kwanza, exactly. Then now you
and that also goes for people who are too happy. Even because that's an emotion. It's not only when you are stressed. Even if you are too happy, don't make especially serious decisions, because realize your decisions are of low quality. You need to make quality decisions when the emotions are high, whether it's happiness or sadness, whatever it is. So just take time off, reflect. When you do reflection, you'll be able to look at your issue objectively. Then the action you're going to take is going to help you.
I love you're talking a lot of sense, like every word after word. I want to digest every statement that you're saying, because everything you say, I want to think about it and understand. Because you started by saying, I want to tell me it's okay not to be okay, but you can be okay.
Yes.
So when you sit and understand that I am not okay and it is okay, but what can I do to be this okay?
To be okay. It's very, very important.
I hope that men we will get there. I feel like we also tunakaribia, tunajaribu siku hizi. Hata hizi chama za watu wa boda, na feel tunaelekea mahali.
Exactly. We just need to step up our efforts. Scale up the programs that we have around mental health issues, and people who are in this space are supposed also to make more efforts than what they are making. Especially, as I was saying, trying to reach out now to people wherever they are. Don't wait for them to come, because experience has shown that they are not coming as we would want them to come.
So we reach out to our friends.
Reach out to, like, if you know where men meet, whether it's those border stages or whatever it is. Sometimes just go take a session there and just talk to them and get to know. You will be surprised how much they'll be able to open up. And especially when they are in a group, that's also one thing about men.
I think I'll try.
When they are in a group,
I should try
because of the mob psych, they'll tend now to talk more, as opposed to when you meet a man one-on-one.
And then they're like, hey, I don't want to be seen like a weak person.
Because there is no, they know it's their peers, so it's like everybody's equal, and people will make jokes and laugh, and that will open them up more to talk.
And now there's this example you've given, the consequences. So you want to act like you're okay, you go drink, you go do this thing. Then later on, it's become a habit, it's become an addiction. So at that point, you need to seek help now.
Exactly.
Because now it's a mental health illness.
It means you are sinking deeper. And there is usually a very good exercise about that you do when you are training. You just put men together. Okay, we do it generally, but here we are talking about men. So you can put men in a group and just have 3 pieces of paper. So one paper is written yes, another one is no, another one is not sure. So you ask men. So just a random question. If you use the first person, like you are the one speaking, and then they're supposed to relate to that statement. If I'm stressed, I overeat. So the people who are honest enough To identify with that, they go to the paper that is written yes. The people who don't do that, they go to no. Those who are not sure, they go to a place where it's
Not
written
sure.
they're not sure. So this also is really going to help them to know what are some of the things they do when they are stressed up. This creates awareness. And then now after that, you can pick it up and tell them the consequences of some of those things that they do. So if I'm stressed, I engage in casual sex. So
They go
you go,
yes.
yeah, you go yes.
No, not sure.
Not sure. If I'm stressed, I drink a lot. If I'm stressed, I oversleep. If I'm stressed, I overeat, so on and so forth. If I'm stressed, I pray. Actually, prayer is also one of the things that really support.
Isn't it not a good thing to pray?
And I say it's one of the things that support mental health.
Oh, prayers.
Yeah, prayers.
Oh,
Yeah,
so if you're
it has worked for the people who pray, of course.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you'll be able to know how many people are doing things that are making them to sink deeper, and how many people are doing things that are supporting their mental health. And then once you clarify, so at least you've created awareness. Whether they're going to practice or not, at least they're aware that if I'm stressed and I do this, I'm not solving the issue. I'm actually worsening it. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe as we end our discussion, is there a way you can encourage us, like how can I be checking on my mental health at the end of the day? Because I don't want it to pile up. Most of us are on that no distress. So how is there a thing like every night before I go to bed?
Yeah, nowadays I know, because we are living in a digital age, there are a lot of apps that have got that. But if you cannot access an app, still there are things that you can do to know. Journaling is one of those key things. As I was saying, when you wake up in the morning, the things that are happening in your life, you may not capture every single detail, but there are those key moments that you will want to, whether they were happy moments or even sad moments. So when you do comparison, how many sad moments did you have? How many happy moments? And if you had those sad moments, were you able to solve those issues? Were you able to get over them? Or do you still feel? Because you always know, if you're not healed from something, you definitely know how you're feeling about it. Maybe somebody pissed you off and you still don't feel like you want to call the person, even though probably they are your friend. Just know that it did something to you mentally or emotionally. Then check again tomorrow, because this was another way of helping you to gauge whether you're getting into a mental health problem, the duration. Yeah, if something happened yesterday, bado mmenyamaziana kama ni nyumba. Unajua kuna watu, niona a family where you might think they are chatting with other people, they are in the sitting room, living room, but the husband is communicating with the wife, just where we are seated here, because we cannot talk directly.
So we are chatting.
So you're asking your hubby to make sure that he gives out money for milk in the morning before he leaves.
But you can't say it verbally.
Yeah, because mmenyamaziana.
Oh. Muna text.
Muna text. So you might think they are talking to people who are very far away.
But they are communicating.
They are communicating. So the question is, from a mental health perspective, that takes how long before you get over it? If it happened yesterday, it's happening today, it's happening tomorrow, and over 1 week, then you just know
something
it's beginning now to affect you as a person. It's beginning to disrupt your normal functioning. Kuna mtu tu ako tu na furaha mpaka afike kwa mlango kwake. Shafika hivi, the mood changes, and it has taken so long kama umeishi tu hivyo. So definitely you just know you need help. Yeah.
Kuna a lot of feedback nilipata ni mi nimechoka. Kuna watu wasema mi nimechoka. Like I'm just tired. I am very tired. What
are they tired of?
Mtu anakwambia tu nimechoka.
Okay.
Si ati ametoka kulima, si ati hata akiamka amechoka.
It's a mental tiredness, and I hear it a lot. Though most of the time the cause is not specified, or even the condition is not talked about in detail, but definitely that tells you this person is undergoing something. So maybe one of the questions should ask, for how long have you been feeling like this? Yeah, that's a good way to start. So hii kuchoka, umechoka muda gani? Imeanza leo ndio umechoka pekee, ama jana pia ulisikia the same thing maybe? So you'll be able to gauge how deeply entrenched the issue is. So if you realize something that has taken a certain period of time, just ask them to go for help.
If it has not taken the 2-week period of time? What can
okay,
you do?
sometimes it's not. Sometimes it can also be a serious thing. There are those things that has not taken a lot of time, but now it's very severe. So we could ask the person how their day was, and probably they can explain if they are able to open up. Because maybe they got into a situation that really messed them up mentally. So may not have taken a lot of time, but may want to know the detail. Because most of the time it is said, and when you take it at face value without checks, you can really not know, you can really not make sense out of it and really know what the person is going. So you can maybe ask, so tell me, what is making you tired? And did you feel the same yesterday? Did you feel the same the day before? So that will help you to gauge the severity of the situation, and also the duration. Yeah. And if you realize this is something that is very, even if it has not taken a long time, just recommend to them that they get someone to talk to, or if they can open up to you. And if they open up to you and you realize there are issues that you cannot handle, maybe you can recommend that they go for support elsewhere, maybe from a professional.
Yeah, I think professionals are the best, because the feedback that I got was a lot.
Yeah.
So I can't even help.
Yeah.
That's why I decided to do an entire episode. And then maybe because is it an app that they can call and get different therapists to?
Yeah.
So maybe you can just give us even the details so that mtu akiricha out hivyo namtuma tu.
Yeah, there are so many apps. Some I can't even remember offered. I'm going to send you. But even at Mental, because I said we offer mental health services online, we also have an app. You just go to, you can even search our website.
Okay, so we'll
just
give the
software
website.
you can log in.
Yeah.
And they also you can even ask a question there, and you get answered.
Is it chargeable?
For inquiries are not chargeable, but for therapies we charge.
Okay.
Yeah, like, inquiry, you're just asking a general question, you just be answered by professionals there. Like somebody who just tells you, I usually feel tired, maybe most of the time, or maybe I had an issue like this. No, that's just an inquiry. It's not a therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and you see, the professionals are also trained, so that maybe they can evaluate the situation and maybe recommend to the person if they can go for therapy. And the good thing, there's a lot of anonymity in it. So, because one thing again I wanted to point out, the issue of maybe going for psychological help or even seeking counseling, it has not been our culture. Those are one of the things we are struggling with. Now, generally, without having now to specifically talk about men, people have not really prioritized their mental health. People have prioritized their physical health. When I don't feel well, I walk to a chemist, I go to a hospital, I get checked. But for mental health issue, I would rather sleep in my house.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's also one thing that people need to know. Just the way you take care of your physical health, the same way you're supposed to take care of your mental health. Yeah, so don't ignore even those small things that you see.
Yeah, that's true. So we are going to share the details here, guys, in case you feel like your feedback ya Instagram ilikuwa mingi, and I'm sure in one way or the other ungependa kusaidika. One word, sometimes you're tired, you need someone to just pour into you, encourage you, tell you it's gonna be okay, itakusaidia sana. So in case you want to reach out, the details are here, and yes, you'll get help. Now you'll move from one level, as I'm hoping you'll go lower, you won't accelerate.
Exactly.
Is there anything you feel like you'd like to tell them so that we can just emphasize?
At the last level, which I was calling mental illness, I said when you have a mental health problem, you go to a counseling psychologist, will give you a talk therapy. For mental illness, yes, a counseling psychologist can still come in, but you need to see, there are two people, you need to see a clinical psychologist and also a psychiatrist. So some mental illnesses will require combination
Of the two.
Because a psychiatrist, they are going to prescribe drugs, or a clinical psychologist, they are going to do certain therapies. There are those conditions that may require only either of them, either psychiatrist or psychologist, depending also on the severity and the nature of the illness that someone has. Yeah.
And I think for the longest time, I have been thinking of doing therapy. But then, of course, the thought of why are you going to see someone, the stigma.
Yeah.
Like, why are you talking to someone?
Exactly.
Why, But until I tried it, I was like, even I'm being more productive than I thought.
Exactly.
Because they are feeling into you. Those holes that you feel like maybe I'm not enough. Maybe you see those thoughts that you have.
Yeah.
When someone else is sharing positive, I'm pouring positive things into you,
Yeah.
you even feel like I'm becoming a better human.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it is not like you need to wait and get serious. Even maybe you might feel like, why am I not productive these days? Why am I not performing how I used to perform? So if you look for such help, you really become...
I like that point. And to put it into perspective, just the way people go for physical checkup, it's also good to go for mental checkup.
That's true.
Just know whether you are okay. Because I said sometimes you can assume you're okay, but you are not.
That's true.
So you need somebody to help you know.
Especially hiyo ya kuchoka.
Yeah.
Mi nimechoka.
Yeah, but then that's usually another sign of
why are you tired in the morning?
Just getting tired. If you were to talk about symptoms, just getting tired out of the blue, it tells us something about your
and you've
mental
done nothing
condition.
today and you're tired.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bwana Paul.
Karibu
You're
sana.
very funny, in case no one told you.
Really?
You're very funny.
Thank you.
And I love it because tunapata ujumbe. Unaona, within that humor, we get to grasp something. Yeah, thank you so much, Bwana Paul. And we are grateful for your time. Thank you even for coming to share your knowledge with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Guys, I hope you loved our show. I hope it's going to help hata mmoja. Hata si wawili, mmoja tu. And we'll be very grateful. Yeah, that's it for us from today. See you next week for our next episode. Bye.